You know the words, you can read the sentences, but the language is so wanky and highfalutin. You're just like, what the fuck are you even talking about? I kinda expected that from this, The Conspiracy of Art by Jean Baudrillard. I mean, it's about art. He's French.
I'm French! Why do you think I have this outrageous accent?
And I was right. Sort of. What's interesting is that a lot of the wanky language in it doesn't come from Baudrillard himself, but rather the people he is speaking with. Hi, I'm Sho. I talk about books and their authors and related stuff, and I promise you, I only sometimes sound like a wankhead, unlike the people in this book. They ask these incredibly dense questions. They're like trying so hard to sound smart, but Baudrillard just takes them at face value, and actually it's quite funny, but that's not the point. I'll openly admit I still don't have the language to get this book. I left a lot of meaning behind, but on an intuitive level, on a gut level, it made terrifying sense. Jean Baudrillard was a French philosopher, a cultural critic, a professional provocateur. He is the intellectual godfather behind The Matrix. And he came up with mind-bending terms like hyperreality and simulacra. It's also important to note that this book is not a singular linear argument. It is a collection of essays and interviews and fragments collected over several years, several decades, really. And the format is key because it feels less like a formal thesis and more like you are listening in on a series of brilliant, often contradictory, very provocative conversations. Baudrillard's whole project in a nutshell was to look at the whole world and ask, is any of this even real anymore? Baudrillard's big, controversial idea is this: art, as we know it, is dead. He argues that for centuries, art had a special, almost magical power. It could be revolutionary, it could be transcendental, it could be a critical mirror held up to society. But now all of that is over because art has been completely taken over by the market. It is no longer special. And by the way, he was saying this way back in the 70s. So he is prescient, to say the least. He is saying that art has just become another high-end commodity, like a fucking Piaget or a Birkin bag. And the conspiracy is this: everyone in the art world, the artists, the critics, the museums, the galleries, even us to some extent, everyone is complicit in a kind of open secret. And you kind of get that, right? Baudrillard argues that they are all participating in an elaborate inside joke. They're all pretending that what they're doing is profoundly meaningful when all it is that they are just trading and laundering empty, meaningless, self-referential objects for millions of dollars. Art has, in other words, stopped making meaning of the world and just started making value for itself. Reading it, it was pretty clear that I don't have the specific vocabulary to get this book. I can't opine on aesthetic banality or trans-aesthetic nullity. A lot of the academic language went straight over my head. So why did I keep reading it? Well, two reasons. The first one, now that I've read it, I have a mental map of the territory. I know what the book is about in general, so if I do decide to come back to it later on, I can come back prepared and forewarned. If you want a full rant on why you should always finish a book, link below. Secondly, I honestly believe that even if you didn't fully comprehend the book, something of the book you absorb. It's like an ineffable quality, a vibe, like the flavor of it seeps in. And the unique flavor of this book, well, any book really, is always worth experiencing. But like I said in my intro, on a gut level, this book just made sense. And I'm sure you feel it too. Already, you're standing in a gallery in front of a big white canvas with a small red dot on it, and there's like this long fucking blurb about this painting, and you're like, is this it? Is this some kind of joke? It's just a red dot. Am I the only one that doesn't get this? Baudrillard's work is a powerful validation of that feeling, and his answer is yes, it is a joke.
Gee, I hope I didn't scare the cows. I don't want to put them in a bad mood.
In fact, it's not just a joke, it's a conspiracy. His book explains why when you look at that dumb red dot on the big white canvas, you feel nothing. And that's because that dumb red dot on the white canvas is empty of meaning. Jean Baudrillard's Conspiracy of Art is not a straightforward piece of art criticism. Actually, let's be fair, even if it were, I wouldn't know. I found it more like a philosophical toolkit for understanding our absurd modern world. Because let's face it, that fakeness, that emptiness, well, it's just everywhere now, isn't it? Honestly, I found this book quite liberating because it gave me permission again to trust my intuition whenever I see a labubu in the world and retch. Baudrillard doesn't give you the secret password to join the exclusive club of the art world. He just reassures you that that club is total BS to begin with.
Like, share, subscribe.